Great, thank you. I have Councillor Giambrone to speak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I too am going to be supporting the recommendations, and I guess I want to echo some of the comments made by my fellow councillors. And you know, this comes up in consultations all across the city. Whenever you want consultations to be exhaustive, you want to make sure that people are heard. Being heard, though, does not necessarily mean that at the end of the day we will agree with what residents have said. There's, of course, a very broad range of views that have to be taken into account, both the immediate local area, the city-wide objectives, and I can tell you what I hear from my constituents is they want us to do more to get this city to be less dependent on the automobile. It's consistent with what Council has mandated as our highest priority being pedestrians, our second highest being cyclists, third transit, and fourth the automobile. So we've got some very difficult decisions. As we talked about earlier today with Roncesvalles, we're not alone in these difficult decisions. Cities around the world, specifically in the car-loving United States, are making very difficult decisions. They're closing roads. Los Angeles has a series of programs. The car city is even trying to close roads and reduce capacity on some of its lanes. New York City is doing this. Montreal. You know, we're only one of a host of cities around the world, literally hundreds of cities that are closing roads and putting priority on pedestrians, cyclists, and transit users. You just can't continue to expand the road capacity. The reality is that we're just not going to be able to grow as a city unless we find other means of moving around. This is a fairly balanced proposal. It's not we're taking one lane that is counterflow and we're turning that into a beautiful city. I mean, at the heart of what we should be doing is thinking about how the city looks, how it feels for residents. The downtown has as much right as anywhere else to have beautification and livable neighborhoods. Jarvis is not just a through street; it is also a street where people live and people want to come and should want to come and spend time. So I know it's frustrating. My guess at the end of the day, because we've lived through a lot of these projects both here and around the world, is that these projects are never as problematic as they seem. And when we come back in a number of years, my guess is that it perhaps will not have been the absolute best that it could have been as envisioned in the document, but it certainly will be nowhere near as bad as some people have predicted. I also know that this project will take a number of years to get going, which gives us a great chance to continue to expand our transit, which is actively in expansion mode right now, thanks to the government of Ontario predominantly. And we've got, you know, there's a lot happening, so we are giving residents, not tomorrow, but this project won't be completed tomorrow, more options to alternatives to their car. So, Mr. Chair, I know we've spent a long time considering this, but we have very clearly heard from both sides, and now, you know, both this committee and council will have to weigh that input and finally make a decision. And I can tell you I'm going to be supporting the recommendations put forward to move forward on this, the bike lanes as well as the narrowing of Jarvis.
Great, thank you, Councillor Giambrone.